Welcome everyone to episode 4 of the Cosmere Reads. Hi. Yeah. So you might notice that we are with Alondo, Doughboy, aka Scott Stinkfresh.
Hey,
and
hey.
and Will is not going to be able to make it tonight. He is sick as a dog, so he's taking the week off. He might be watching and chat a little bit here and there from his bed on the mend, but we have our lovely mod Zul, who actually was our first guest ever for the Will Reads. So we're keeping the tradition going.
Nice.
Just
I love continuity. The continuity. I love it.
Just keep the tradition going. Yeah, and one of the things I always like to do as well, especially early on with the reads I did this, I'm doing this with us as well, just because it's fun to see all the information come in, is share little tidbits about growth and things like that of what's going on. So we hit our first 100 downloads in 3 episodes, so that's fun. Actually, we're at 134 downloads as of right now for the first 3, so averaging a little bit under 50 downloads an episode. So it's it's a new podcast. It takes a little time for it to go.
Sure.
The YouTube has a little bit more views, but that's because it's live and it's fun. And I knew that would happen, but that's okay. And then our locations are still growing. So we're in a ton of states as well. So I wanted to kind of talk about the United States a little bit. We are in a ton of countries, but I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 different states that we have listeners in. So
very good. Wait, now which states are we talking about? Is it mainly southern states, New England
all over?
states?
I mean,
Okay,
California, Connecticut, Florida, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Washington State, even Puerto Rico and DC. So it's mixed all over the place.
It's kind of like Google Trends. I love going on Google Trends and typing something in and then seeing what the breakdown is, or what states really like to get into something. So I'd really like to. I'm curious about if there's more readers in the Southwest or whatever.
Yeah, on the little analytics, it has all the different. Yeah, you can have all the different countries, and then it also breaks down what platform people are listening to us on.
Oh yeah,
like Spotify, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, Google Podcast, and then also it groups down male, female, non-binary, and also age groups. So, most of our people listen to us are between the ages of 28 and 34, or 45 and 50. There's a lot in those two, and then nothing in between in the 35 to 44. So
we're having problems breaking into that all required 65 to 73 demographic we've been trying to track down. We got to get that.
We got the 20-year-olds, and we got the 40-year-olds. But then that mid 30s to mid 40s, no one likes us.
Oh, and those are my people.
The Zennials.
Oh wow.
They're not like. I haven't found us yet. That's what it is. Yeah, and about it's almost 50. It's a little bit more. 60% male. And I don't know how accurate this is. I guess it's based on whoever pays the internet bill, because I don't know how they come up with these statistics.
I think with your let's say on my Spotify.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
I don't know how they do it.
You can maybe on your account you can choose to answer these questions or not.
Yeah, but you think that the non-specified would be a higher percentage, because it's only 2% non-specified. So they're doing something to figure out, but I don't know how accurate it is. That's what the point I'm trying to make. I don't know how accurate it actually is.
Sure.
So it might be completely accurate. Who knows? The internet knows things that I do not know.
Welcome to our new statistics podcast.
It's creepy.
It's just stats reads.
That's right, stats reads. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how that all works, but ask Google, and I'm sure they'll know everything about you.
Oh yeah, without question. Without question.
Indeed. Anyway, as far as what's else is going on, having a fun Memorial Day weekend so far. We drove all the way to Waynesboro, Virginia. In case you don't know where that is, it's okay. If you're not from Virginia, I don't expect you to. It's in the mountains, just up in the Appalachian Mountains. Went to Stanton for a little bit, found a little D&D shop to buy Pokemon cards for my kid and some toys and things like that. And it was a fun little trip. My in-laws live up there, so that's why.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah,
I was
it's
wondering,
like randomly
usually,
just for a day go up there.
usually
No,
most people don't go to Waynesboro. I went there because I was with the Commissioner of Revenue's office back in the day, and I used to
oh, yeah,
travel up that way all the time. And what's
yeah.
that hotel that has like the name like really like prominently like on top of the hotels, like the
I know what you're
James.
talking about, but I don't know.
I can't remember what it is. It's like the James Madison Hotel or something like that.
Something like
Anyway,
that.
somebody's gonna know what that is and probably correct us somewhere. But yeah.
Somewhere. I just always stay at my in-laws' house.
In-laws.
So
Oh yeah, that's convenient.
not
There you go.
but yeah, I mean they live there in Waynesboro. There's not much in Waynesboro. I mean, there's a little
Oh,
more.
it's a lot better than what it was like 20 years ago. 20
Mm.
years ago, like nothing was there. Now they
Now they
actually
have
have cool
breweries.
bars and
They have
stuff.
breweries. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
yeah.
they're building up. So
I remember when you recorded from your car in a parking lot one time when you were
Uh-huh.
staying there.
Yeah,
And the
I
cops
did.
pulled up and they were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, no, I wasn't recording. We were doing trivia.
Oh, that's what it was. You were on our
It was
trivia
tri-
team.
it was
That's
on
right.
it was on when DT used to have
Yeah.
a trivia, like he used to do trivia servers, and he did like a charity one where he had all
Yeah.
these content creators do like this massive
Yep.
trivia contest, and I was on your trivia team, and
Yeah, that's what it was. It was so
and
funny.
I knew if I stayed at in-laws house I would not have a place because there's nowhere for me to record.
oh,
So I
right.
went to a parking lot and recorded from inside the car. And yeah, cop in the middle of the content, the cop like knocked on windows like, sir, are you okay? Why are you just like loitering in this parking lot? I was like, I'm live, man. Like, like you would say
Two best places to record a podcast: in your car and in your closet. Every time works every time.
Okay.
Yep.
Lighting was bad, but you know, I was,
Hey, it works
but
out.
that was voice only, so it was fine.
It's
Yeah,
voice only.
see?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. It was fun. But yeah. So how about you guys? How's your Memorial Day weekend going?
It's been going good for me. I mean, I can't complain. I spent 3 hours wrapping a whole bunch of lumpia, so you can't beat that, right? So yeah.
Korean food
So what?
or Filipino?
Yeah, Filipino. Yeah.
Filipino,
So yeah, you'll be getting
Okay.
some. I'm bringing some over to you. Don't worry. Yep. So I made some shrimp and some chorizo lumpia. I like to. I love doing my little amateur chef thing. So that was what I was doing. So nothing really
nice.
special beyond
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a wedding yesterday, and like all of the men in the ceremony and a bunch of the other family members and stuff were wearing kilts, and it just warmed my heart because I had that at my wedding too, and it was just kind of fun. You don't normally see that here in East Texas, so
I wouldn't think. No. You don't see that typically in
I had
America.
a bagpiper too, so that was even weirder.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
Good
Bagpipes
deal.
are always fun. They're loud.
If they're well played. If
Very
they're well
loud.
played, really cool. When you have someone playing it terribly,
I actually have a
watch
funny
out.
story about that. So there's a really big Scottish band called the Chieftains.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
I've heard them. Yeah.
Yeah. So they came and played at the Ferguson Center, which is like a local for Alado and I, a local music venue, concert venue. And one of my friends knew them. So afterwards they went to the bar with us, and they wanted to go to the Irish pub. So we took them to Keegan's, which is like a more because we couldn't think of any other place to go.
Right.
And it's more commercialized.
Yeah.
And they had like a live band playing, but the owner there was there, and he's Irish, and he was like, "The Chieftains are here. Like whoever the local guy is, you're off the stage. Like the Chieftains are now playing at my bar." Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So they played like a little impromptu set, but like everyone started complaining that the bagpipes are too loud and leaving, and the owner's like, "I don't care, keep playing." Like,
oh my gosh,
because it's great. I mean, you have like a international act that's playing a little tiny, little crappy bar, and everybody's like, "I don't know who these are," and it's loud. Gotta love good old.
Yeah, the bagpipes were a little loud in the chapel, but it was a lot of fun when we did like a whole procession, like winding our way across campus to the reception, and everybody's following along. It was at night with all the lights, and it was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, people don't realize how loud musical instruments are until you have them played indoors. Because I still play a little bit of trumpet. That thing's loud. It's loud.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Get ready if you want to hear me practice.
Yeah, it's even louder when you have your 10 on. And speaking of that, let's go jump right into chapter 9.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a couple months later. So there is a little bit of time jump between part 1 and part 2. It's not like a huge time jump. It's a few months later. And it starts this little cat and mouse game, and it's I don't know if you caught on really fast a lot of what was going on, but I thought right away. I think I remember my first time reading this. I was like, I know what's going on here,
Oh,
but
I
yeah.
thought it was
So
a great bait and switch because
yeah,
it broke up two different parts of the book. It went
hmm
from part 1 to part 2. And it was a great bait and switch where it's like you don't know if she has like mastered stuff and she's actually fighting a real assailant when you're first
hmm
reading it because they were so ambiguous. The only thing they used was pronouns.
right,
Him, her
right,
foe or whatever they used to refer to it. And then like it just kept like kind of dangling like little bits more information. You're like, okay, this is a
yeah.
training session. She's not quite there yet. She's further along than she was, but
Oh yeah,
and then eventually
but
just kind of like, oh, it's months later. It's not like years later. So
yeah, but she's doing a pretty good job. I mean, pretty
oh yeah,
badass. Like jumping
absolutely.
around, like and the way they're training is like it's like live ammunition training, like in the
Oh
military.
yeah,
Like I mean, there are deathly coins flying at you. Like if you screw up, you're going to be injured or even killed. In this training, it's not
easily.
a
Yeah, damage could be done. I mean,
damage can be
seriously,
done. Yeah,
absolutely,
so.
yes.
But they're doing this little chase around town around I guess this is still around the town that where Lord Renault's
Yeah.
town. It's not
Right.
in Luthadel. It's but
Felice.
Felice, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little fun cat and mouse. And it ends with, of course, that coin push at the very end with them
Right.
like pushing that one coin, and they both fly back against the wall, and then
And
flares.
she breaks through a tree.
Breaks through a tree as she
Yeah.
flares her steel and like pushes Kelsey back. And Kelsey's like, "Huh, didn't
Mhm.
expect that one." And then
Yeah,
then
she's adapting really, really well.
Yeah.
And
Kelsey
definitely her skills come
points that
along.
out too. He's
Yeah.
like, dude, she's like he turns to Sazed. He's like, she's a lot better at this than I ever was. And so he's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
after
people with different skills. So.
And then he says something about the fact that the weight difference thing should be something she should have to worry about because she's like light,
Right.
she doesn't weigh much, and he's surprised about the fact that she can push him back the way that
Yeah.
he does.
The
And I was
way
like,
she did.
yeah,
Mhm.
that means she's able to like put a little bit more strength into it than even he's ready for,
Yeah.
which is good news for her, obviously.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really surprised at not only her strength, but how fast she's learning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because he said he didn't even learn anywhere near as fast as she's coming
Mhm.
along. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So enjoyed this first opening, Lado. This is
yeah, I thought it was great. I'm gonna be on. We need to bring back the '80s montages, my people.
Yeah.
Let's bring back the '80s training montages. That's all I could think of the whole time.
Eye of
It's
the
a
tiger,
training
it's
montage. Let's go. It's like the whole thing, like Rocky running up a mountain kind of training montage. I'm like, I would love to see that in live action. Any producers out there just watching this who's gonna make a movie,
Oh, yeah.
more montages, just do that.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Yep.
Yeah. But I thought it was fun. I loved it.
Yeah, it was a little fun.
I was a fan. Yeah.
And then they go back to the estate, and there's another lady there who is there to is it Koshan? I think is her name.
I didn't write her name down.
Did not write her name down.
Yeah, she's to cut their hair.
Begins with a C.
She's the hairstylist.
Right.
Comments on how wonderful her hair is, yet it's been so unkept.
Yeah, I had problems trying to like visualize exactly what the hairdo was. They said it was still long enough to like drop below the ears, but they said she looked more feminine, and I was like, what did she look like before? I kind of want to know what she looked like before.
She kept her hair short. I think she mentions this because she says that I guess her brother used to tell her don't look like a girl.
Like a girl because it's like it comes up specifically, and it's like she has a callback.
It calls back to that, like that.
Yeah.
You want to look like a boy. So I think she got that pretty short, like a boy.
But it couldn't have been too short because then they cut the hair and then it's as long as her ears. So I was like, well, that means her hair had to be longer before. Oh, that's true. Yeah, a few months passed.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
at
know how
that
much
age, her hair is
that
probably
way.
growing like an inch and a half a month or something.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
So,
Koshan.
so I assume that at some point in time, then that means that she kind of had. I assume she had the Beatles flop hair, and then they were like, nope, we got to cut this back. Make it look a little more ladylike.
Yeah.
And we still didn't even know that because she cut it some more afterwards. She was still cutting when he like left to go.
I think it was pretty jagged. She had like longer pieces, shorter pieces. Like it was just kind of hacked off.
Okay.
It wasn't like a real like
style
to begin with. It was just sort of like hacked off.
Sure.
And so,
and while all this haircut's happening, Sazed comes in and wants to propose another religion for Ven. an interesting one called Trillism. About this guy Trell, who I guess had a brother who was was it the brother was the son, or Trell was the son, and the other one was jealous, and anyway, they were it was a sun moon.
It was like
moon,
the starlight, the
Yeah.
starlight, and then the sun.
Yeah, I didn't
Starlight
commit that
Sun,
to
yeah.
memory. I just like locked in on 560 plus religions. I was like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? I was like, what the
She asked him
heck?
like, how this is the fifth one you pitched. How many religions do you know? She's like 562 to be exact.
And I was like, what are we serious right now? 560. He's like, and most of them are like defunct or whatever.
dead
And I'm
language.
like,
Oh, yeah, they
oh my
are.
gosh. I was like, and he's got tracks of all of these.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Okay,
like,
so my
"Man."
question to you is, how in the world does he remember all of that and keep it straight? He's called a keeper.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he knows everything. He retains everything. And I'm gonna jump ahead to another note I have about this guy, but there's a lot more going on with this guy than you think, because it's like he knows not only about the religions, he knows everything about, you know, the aristocracy that's going on and
Mhm.
everything. He also knows everything that's going on with Allomancy. He just knows a bunch of stuff. And then I mean, there's just stuff that comes up where it's like, oh, he's just like super trusted and he's like powerful. We don't know yet how powerful he
Mhm.
is, but we get illusions of the fact this guy has actually got some strength. And
Mhm.
I'm like, okay. And it's even, I know I'm jumping ahead of chapter, but it's like it's mentioned that, like, you know, there's like some reverence that people have for, you know, the Terraceman
The
race.
Terraceman, yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. There's a lot more going with these people than you think. So
Yeah, there's some about, I wanted to talk about the keepers in chapter 10. So
okay,
Mhm.
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
when
So
we'll get to that,
we'll
talk
save that
about
for
some
then.
more.
Say that.
Save that for
Yeah.
then. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that and actually I kept something about the way that at one point in time he's referred to as being a sect, and it threw me off. It was something that so Kelsier says something to him and says something about his sect. And I was
Mhm.
like, usually you use the term sect to describe a subgroup of a religion. And I was
Mhm.
like, so it made it sound like, you know, terrorist people were a sect. And I was like, but they're alluded to, because we've been hearing all these intros to every chapter. And it talks about terrorists.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I've been thinking of it as a land this whole time. And then
Mhm.
he refers to it as a sect. And I'm like, so is it a religion as well? Or is it, and I know these are like completely rhetorical questions.
Mhm.
But it's like, is a religion as well as a people, as well as a land? These are all the questions that are kind of, you
These
know,
are all good questions.
bubbling around in my head the whole time that I'm reading.
But
So
the keepers are a subset of terracemen. Not all terracemen are keepers.
oh,
Mhm.
Okay.
okay,
So
okay.
I don't know specifically if that might have been what you were
That
picking up
could
on.
be. I mean, it might
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
have been clear. And you got to remember, I'm doing
Yeah.
first reads here. I'm not, you know, going
Yeah.
and
it's
breaking
fine.
it down because I'm not allowed to.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
And as far as things you're not allowed to, here I'm going to read you for filth here. If I hear that you're going and Googling any cosplay or any art, I'm going to jump through that mud there and get you, because listen, artwork is often spoilery.
Some
Yeah,
of it
so
is, yeah.
so the thing is,
You need to
Alan
get
did an incredible
Alan to
job.
do it for you.
He did, and he sent me a image through our group chat, and I was like, "Thank you, Alan. I appreciate this," because I'm like, curiosity is killing me on some of this stuff. And it's like I want to look, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't. I was like, I know it's
I
gonna
go
spoil
through the
stuff.
images and try to find one that has no other background or something
Yeah.
else happening.
Right.
Exactly.
So
There it is.
that's the reason why I haven't. I have not. I am doing my darndest, but holy cow, it's like, you know, call me curiosity, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's all
Dalton
I am.
Prophet is co-signing on that and saying that Mistborn
Yeah.
artwork is definitely spoilery.
Spoiler.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
And
I will admit one thing
Okay.
that I did look up, and I felt like it wasn't gonna be spoilery, and I don't feel like it was. Is now that I understand what the cover art of the book is actually
Mhm.
presenting, I was like, oh, I kind of want to see what the cover art looks like for other releases of the book. Just because I just want to see it.
Of the first book.
Yeah, just the first book.
Uh-huh.
That was a crazy cool deep dive. Just like looking at all the international covers, the audiobook covers of, this first book. And of course, you look at the one for Japan, it looks completely anime style, which I was like just a super huge fan. It's like, it looks like a manga basically. So that was really fun to do. But that's the limit of what I'm going to do in terms of research. I felt like looking at cover art was not going to be. I mean, heck, it's on the cover
of the first book. Of the first book.
I was like, that can't be spoilery.
Yeah.
But I was
this is my particular cover art.
Right. See, and I just got really into that. And then like the second and third and so on and so forth. So anyway, I will admit to that deep dive. So anyway, a new challenger has entered the fight.
Yeah. So late to the stream, but that's okay. It's not Tuesday, as his name says here. We are welcoming a familiar voice to a lot of people. Chris from the Will Reads.
What's up, everybody?
To join
What's
us.
going on?
To join us a little bit, since he's read through all of Mistborn. Well, almost all of Mistborn. All of Era 1.
All of Era 1 and all but the last of Era 2. So.
All of the last book of Era 2.
Oh, it's so good. What do you think? I'm running I want to know what you think. I need to know your opinions.
No.
Opinions are it's been great so far. I mean, it's been great so far. I mean, of course, everything's still
We're on
unfolding.
chapter 9 right now.
Yeah, and things are unfolding very slowly. I mean, slowly but surely. And we were talking about how curiosity is killing me right now. So
oh yeah.
Well,
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And yes, Pythos, it is a Will Reads party tonight. That's for sure.
Party tonight.
Yeah. So
sorry.
So also, while Vin's getting her haircut, Sazed starts to quiz her about like all the noble stuff and like making sure that she got her act down because she's gonna be playing this part of a noble woman. And and Sazed even comments how great her memorization skill is, although it's nothing compared to Sazed. But it's just how she's been able to recall all these different things and like her act and how things are. And she's like, yeah, you're almost ready. I just don't know how you'll handle under pressure. I think he's still a little nervous, not ready to send her out the court yet. Right. But she's getting it pretty down. I mean, she has the whole role and like why she's there, what she's supposed to do. Like it has her whole, who this is and who that is. And yeah.
I have to assume that the person who wrote the Princess Diaries was reading this chapter and was like, I'm gonna go ahead.
Oh my gosh, I had notes about that because not only does it give me Princess Diaries vibes, but Hunger Games and Katniss.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like My Fair Lady.
Oh yeah. Pygmalion, all that. Yes.
Like like taking like that rough. And like
it's that common thing, like you said, taking the diamond in the rough and really refining it to where you can actually use it for something. And I was kind of torn when we saw Vin kind of going through this particular situation, because I thought we were going to get away from that narrative. I thought like here we have a protagonist that is a female and she's just going to be a badass the whole time. So is that your kind of take on it, or what did you think was going to happen with her?
Well, I mean, but they already set her up and said, we need you to infiltrate, I continue to refer to them as the aristocracy because it's just the way I think of it in my head. But we need you to infiltrate this, and it is a hard thing to do. They're like, they will sniff you out in a heartbeat. So I knew they had to do this whole, again, going back to Shakespeare, this Pygmalion, they had to go back to this thing where it's like, okay, well, we need to like, cue you up for what's getting ready to happen. And you got to walk the walk, talk the talk, know the flair, the accent, everything, to sell this thing. And I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to get featured. I thought it was going to be a time jump thing, but we got another 80s montage of her getting like dolled up and everything, every other 80s rom-com movie that happened where they take the girl and they do her hair up a little bit, she takes her glasses off, and all of a sudden she's like she's gorgeous.
Next thing you know, Freddie Prinze Jr. just shows up and she's all that.
Of course. She's all that. You didn't know? And of course everybody in the audience is like, she was pretty with glasses on too, right? Am I the one seeing this? I mean, yeah.
Great times.
But yeah, it's like, they've got to teach her how to use all the right utensils and like everything. This is the girl who was like you said, stealing food every time she could get her hands on any of it.
Every time she gets an opportunity
Scrape
to
the
steal
middle
some
part
food.
out and just like keep the wrap and stick it in my pocket.
Oh yeah, this
for
is definitely a
later.
girl that was making ramen noodles in her teapot.
Yeah, you can take the girl of the hood, but I don't know if you take the hood out of the girl. That's
No way.
No.
Trust me.
That's the girl that's got a keeping it real T-shirt at home. You know.
Yeah, good times. So yeah, after this little I guess quiz session, Kelsey and Sazed go off to talk privately about Vin. And this is where Kelsey talks about with Sazed how fast she's progressing and like how he's just amazed by how good she's getting at Allomancy. But he's still nervous because she's really only mastered, or not even mastered, but good at, I guess, a few of the metals, not all 8 yet. And really want, I think he's 4. Yeah, 4 of them. So he's a little nervous about sending her out there, but he also declares that she'll start attending balls by the end of the week. So I guess he's still trying to fast track her, but yeah.
And that's of course where say to just like, hey, have her meet up with the other mistings that you have, which is a brilliant idea, because obviously if you only have one power, you're going to be badass at it. And it's like, of course, just send her to be with those people, because unfortunately you're a jack of all trades, master possibly of none. So send her off, and of course we know that pays off in spades, because we're getting to our boy Breeze anyway.
Yeah, we get the next chapter. Our boy Breeze.
Oh yeah.
Who's Chris's second favorite secondary character. Still Ham's number 1 because Chris is Ham.
Yes.
Chris is our
Ham. I get Ham. Ham got quiet confidence too. I like him. Yeah.
Chris would be the Peter. If Chris was a Misting, it would be it'd be Peter Arm.
Peter Arm. Yep.
For sure.
Nice.
Just the muscle going in and killing everybody and not taking names. So that's how we end chapter 9. I mean, it's not a super long chapter. I mean, you get the little cat and mouse at the beginning, a little haircut, a little bit of quizzing, and a little bit about this idea that said, hey, we got to go get Vin trained by each one of the individual Mistings to really fine tune her skills.
Yep.
Well, I know at the very end of that chapter, it is where it mentioned at first that the ministry had hunted the keepers nearly to extinction.
Yes.
Right. And again,
you're like, what's up with that?
Why? Yeah, I was about to say,
why?
What do you think
I got questions, but I was like, hopefully
what are
tell us later.
What are your why?
Rhetorical questions. These are rhetorical questions. Like, I mean, and then me wondering, I was like, well, because of course I think of at the time, until you guys clarified, I did not realize that keepers were a subset of the terrorist men. I thought that basically they were synonymous and they were like basically one and the same. Hearing that they're a subset kind of changes my perception during the course of this podcast. At the time, I was like, so they hunted down all of these people and killed them, but
just the keepers,
right? And so now I'm like, okay, I really want to hear exactly what that delineation is between the two. And I know it's coming. I know it's coming. So.
And this is a little bit from next chapter. They also talk about, I guess, how they try to squash all other religions. And that was one of the big things as well, as they were trying to make the Lord Ruler the only one religion. No one can remember any other religion. And that's, and that was, and a couple of religions tried to hold out and refuse to bow down to the Lord Ruler, and it didn't end too well for them.
Didn't they kind of talk about Sazed's religion in chapter 9?
Well, which one? Talked about how many of them? 562.
Yeah, he just talked about how many there are.
So he definitely he kind of hit on the different religions and admitted to there being like 500 plus.
Right. He was talking about Trellism.
Yeah.
Right. He specifically throws that out as one that he's training.
Offering to Vin.
Vin, and saying, hey, this is an option for you. He's like, basically it's equivalent of like throwing out like suitors. He's like, what do you think about this one? And she's like,
Well, you find out in the next chapter, in chapter 10, that he's been doing the same
to Kelsey.
Kelsey's like, give me another one. Let's try another one.
Right. Yeah. He's like, do you have one where they kill nobles? I know we're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
All
Pretty
right.
much.
go.
Yeah. All right. So chapter 10. So Vin goes back to Luthadel. And she's on her way to one of these I guess food places. Almost like a soup kitchen for ska.
Right.
Like and that's the way they describe it almost. Like there's certain ska that are paid by the noblemen to run these kitchens for the general population, basically even fed because of the factory workers and everything like that. But the thing is, if they get cheaper ingredients, they get to keep the profits. So it's just really crappy food. I mean, it's just like,
oh, it's a crappy environment because she notices how they don't sweep up the ash, they don't clean up the buildings. She was even saying it's like she's like the town looks brighter at night than it does during the day, which really just like really emphasizes how dirty this place looks.
Yeah.
And now she's, been living in an environment where it's like nice and they clean up all the time and do all this. And now she's like back into what she had been, basically used to all this time. She's like, oh,
yeah,
I do live in Skankville. Okay.
There
once
is
you
better
get
out there.
yeah. So she's like, I got used to the nice life, and now I'm back into the dregs.
It reminds me of kind of like
You-
the Matrix, like when he gets pulled out, they serve him that slop or whatever, and the ship
Yes.
first time doesn't he's like,
So
Yeah.
and
And
like,
he's back, and he's in the
He's
car.
like-
He's like, I used to eat there, and blah, blah, blah.
So do you think she'll end up back on the streets?
Like ever? I mean, I feel like at this point in time, again, like the Princess Diaries, she can't go back. I mean, that's just not gonna. I mean, she knows how to flow between the two worlds the same way, using the Matrix reference. Neo floats in and out. He's like, I can go in, I can come back out, so on and so forth. I think she'll do that. I can't imagine her just getting relegated to, just being a scrub again. It's just I don't see that happening. No.
She did mention in her own thoughts in chapter 9 that like she's been going along with everything with them and she wants to stay with them and learn as much as she can, but she has another plan. She has some other plan, and I wanted to know kind of what you thought that other plan might be.
Plan?
So I continue to think that that's in my mind, that's a very fluid thing because she also has been trying to say, I'm going to learn what I can from Kelsier. And the moment that I can stab him and run, I'm going to run. She's, just kind of treating things that way. So I take all of that with a grain of salt right now until I see evidence of her actually putting together a formalized plan. Right. I think a lot of what she has been doing up until now is a byproduct of mistrust. Because of the way she has been treated all of these years. I mean, we're talking about decades, over a decade of mistreatment and torture, even by her own, mistrust even from her own family, mother.
For sure.
So I think that to me is just a byproduct of this mistrust situation. I don't think of her as having like her own plan right now. Now I could be wrong, but right now that didn't really.
She's ready to cut and run if she has to at any point.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Why she's like stowing like all the vittles. She's like, I gotta do the vittle storage that way. If I have to run, I'm out. That kind of thing. And
I'm gonna save every little boxing I can, and not use them for like my allomancy if I don't have to, because I'm gonna save them.
Exactly. But again, that's the life she came from, so I can understand that.
So she goes down this alleyway to this kitchen, to this cafeteria or whatever you want to call it, and to me it seems like I was like a club line, but more like a homeless like food shelter, food soup kitchen line. Like, and she like cuts the line to the front, hands him the coin, flips the guy the coin. He's like, "Yeah, here, open the door, go on in. We were expecting you," kind of thing. And then she goes and finds the door in the back of the room through all the people eating. And walks open. There's my man, just sitting there with a Julie Canicot's like, "Oh, Vin, come to join us. Come on in." Good old
my immediate note to that is, when are we going to see these pimp canes in use? That's all I want to know. Because I mean, they talk about these dueling canes. I want to see a pimp cane get used on somebody somewhere.
Yes, the dueling cane.
But again, I want to see it in action. They've been referenced so much, and I've. Like literally, that's what I'm gonna call them from now on, is pimp canes. So
pimp canes, yeah.
It is what it is. And the reason I say it is because Breeze is a pimp. I mean, this guy always well dressed, nice suit, the whole deal. I'm like, yeah, that's a pimp all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as they're doing their hellos, Hammond comes in as well, and they're like, "All right, so what's
Right.
going on?" It's like Kelsier's about to come in and speak. We're getting everything ready to go, and Vin's like, "Why am I here? What's going on?" It's like he's like, "Oh, we're gonna teach you a little bit about these metals here. So just sit back and
Yeah.
watch."
So have you learned yet what Breeze's medals do?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
the
And
scooter.
he
Oh,
is
wow.
and he's really good at messing with her a lot. He's like, what if I used, my powers on you 3 times in this conversation? What would you think?
He
What
has
would
to
you
ask,
say? Blah
do
blah
you think
blah.
he uses? Do you think he even has to use his powers at this point?
Well, he even brings it up. He's like, after you've done this enough, like you don't even use it half the time. 'Cause he sends like the other kid or whatever that from the gang or whatever to go get him wine. And it's like, did you see them? It's like, I wouldn't waste my brass on that. I just
Yeah.
just he knows
Yeah.
what he's supposed to do. Like
Manipulation.
But he also emphasizes, he's like, we all do it all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he makes a really
So
compelling
what is
point
your thought about Breeze? I know you say he's a pimp, but what else do you think? How do you
about
feel
Breeze in
about him?
general. I mean,
Yeah, about Breeze in general.
Breeze is a guy. First of all, his demeanor just it just breeds aristocracy. He came from somebody's high house somewhere. He knows some stuff.
He's got that pizzazz.
I just don't know. We don't know the background yet, but yeah, he knows some things. He's got that air of confidence. By the way, that confidence is that's the reason why he's a pimp, because he's got the confidence, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna always kind of command a room when he walks
Mhm.
into it. And I'm talking about no use of power. He's gonna
Mhm.
command a room when he walks in. He's got the clothing on, because he even references, the suit and everything he's wearing. He's always got the pimp cane, obviously. My man is like always like dressed to death, and it's like you just know he is just he knows people. He's been through some like situations where he's been able to just kind of smooth things out,
Right.
just chit chatting, not even using his powers. I could see that. So I
Right.
just anticipate that's the way it's going to continue to be for him.
Yeah, and it's interesting when he gets into the nuances of soothing and writing, because he talks about
His philosophy is great. I love
he
it.
talks about both here, like
Yeah.
that, because he has people in the crowd that can do both. Soothing soothes emotions, rides emotions, but then whereas Kelsier just like blatantly soothes you because he doesn't really know the nuances and the finesse.
Right.
He talks about how once you get really good at this, like you can pick out which emotion you want to portray. So
Right.
have people flare certain emotions and then slowly subdue other ones to let the emotion that you want them to have to come forth. And then he talks about the subtlety of it. Like, you push too hard, even the people that have no idea what's going on will still suspect something's up.
Right.
And then if you don't push enough, if they have a strong enough emotion, it's not going to affect them. So like there's that the finesse of this.
Yeah.
I had a note from the last, I think it was the last episode or the episode before, and I wrote it down to myself. It's like, he really is the definition of there's a difference between convincing someone to do somebody and coercing somebody to do something, right? Convincing somebody is like, okay, well, you're on this side of the situation and I'm going to convince you to come over. Whereas coercing somebody is like subtly kind of changing your feelings about something to kind of draw you into the situation, and that's the way that Breeze works.
You make it feel like it's their choice.
And I just think that's the subtlety that you can work with when you become a master of your art. Versus, again, Kelsier, who's a jack of all trades, is like, I will brute force this, and I will.
So, what do you think about the morality of this type of power?
Well, I think the morality is just exactly like the way Breeze explains it. I mean,
everyone does it. That's what he says. He says everyone does this.
Everyone
you meet a new girl, you're manipulating her. You meet a new friend, old friend, you want to change stories. It's manipulation. Call it what you want to call it.
Right.
How do you think a baby gets anything it wants and needs?
It cries.
Yeah.
Manipulation.
It's manipulation. I mean, it's kind of the way everything works. It's like you tell somebody what they want to hear so that way you can get what you want. I mean, it's just, it happens in everyday life, and it makes perfect sense. So I don't think they're not doing anything differently than anybody else based on the way that Breeze has explained it to me and coerced me into that particular way of thinking. Yeah. Maybe he's coming through the book and actually altering my brainwaves. I don't know.
He could be.
But it made sense. It made sense.
Yeah.
The way that I read it. So I was on board. You know.
So you don't dislike Breeze at all then?
Say again.
You don't dislike Breeze at all, then?
What's the dislike?
Do you trust?
Asking you.
He hasn't given
I'm
me a,
asking the first time.
look.
reader
No,
what
no
this
one
is
has
like.
given me a reason to dislike him yet.
Do you trust him?
Yeah,
I don't trust
that's-
anybody yet.
Okay.
Come on now, let's be real.
That's gonna be my next question.
We're like chapter
Would you-
10.
would you
I don't
pick
trust
him to be your
nobody.
best
I don't trust
friend?
nobody.
I have read too many books to trust anybody. I'm always waiting for that carpet to get pulled out from under me in a heartbeat. So
Okay, that's good because I forget what it was. You made a comment. I just re-listened to last week's episode, and there's this concept of the unreliable narrator, where somebody states something as a fact. This is how it is. This is, you can do this, you can't do that. And I remember you said that there was some rule about something, and you're like, oh, well, they're going to have to overcome that, whatever they think this hard line is, and that's how they're going to defeat the Lord Ruler or whatever. They're going to figure out how to get around that.
right.
And so
Wait, you think they're going to defeat the Lord Ruler?
he said something about
It's the final empire. I mean,
yeah.
Final Empire.
yeah, so I mean, you know, again, 80s montage. Let's go, people. That's the subtitle for this episode, 80s montages. But that I do remember saying that, because usually when they bring up something that's like an unbreakable rule, a uncrossable barrier, anything like that, there's a reason why they lay that out. Is like, okay, well, they're going to have to excel beyond what anyone has ever done to be able to accomplish whatever this thing is. And so I always assume, like, you know, the use of like these new metals or getting access to this ATM or whatever it is, there's always something that they're going to be like, okay, well, we've never had to do this before, but we're going to have to jump this pogo stick twice as high so we can get there. And that's the task. That's the task at hand. So
yeah, I just wanted to say, definitely beware of people making statements of this is how things are or what something is, because it's what they believe that it is.
Right.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm gonna give this little allegory, and
as an absolute statement.
I have been reading Agatha Christie like my entire life. Like, I started reading Agatha Christie when I was like 8, and one of the best books I ever read by her, and I'm a spoiler alert for a 100-year-old book, is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. And you find out at the end of the book that the doctor who's been narrating the whole book is actually the murderer, but he just conveniently left out all the stuff that implicated him. And I was like, well, that was really convenient, because there's no way I could have deduced that because you didn't put that information in. But it really, as a kid, got me to, understand that there's always unreliable narrators in all these stories. And it's because they conveniently leave out all this information. So I never trust anybody in a book, because I'm like, I don't have access. I have access to exactly the number, the amount of facts that you want to leave out for me as breadcrumbs. That does not mean you have given me every single fact. So yeah, I trust nothing. So as far as I'm concerned, Kelsier did it. Nah, I'm just
So, and then Kelsier comes and gives a speech, and that's when Bree starts working his magic. And starts sending in all the different servers, different colors.
I need a glass of water.
Saying, and he's talking through, which I love the way that Brandon Sanderson writes this aspect. So it explains what he's doing in a way that's really like, I don't know, it's just a neat way of explaining, like, send the girl with blue in. And it's like,
the color,
and he starts and explain like what emotions he wants. He goes, we want him to be complacent. We want him to be interested. Okay, so let's go ahead and suppress that emotion, but let's flare this. Let's tweak this a little bit there, and it's
right. It's getting curious about things.
Okay. Now we mentioned this. Let's get him angry. Okay, send the get him angry about it. Send someone else.
It's just does a really good job of making things simple for us.
Absolutely. And the color choice, putting the colors in it just helps us as well, because he could have said, oh, okay, well, send in this lady named Tracy, so on and so forth. But using the color choices is like, okay, it helps us kind of create a synonym between the actual colors and the emotions that you actually want to use. Because realistically, you probably wouldn't do that, but as a reader, it's very helpful.
Oh, sure. Well, and also, it's one of those things that there's been studies about this. I mean, colors do do pair with emotions. I mean, there's people think red, think rage, they think anger, they think things like that. Blue, think calming.
Calming and sadness, either one. Yeah.
Calming or sadness. So they're green, envy. We do associate colors with emotions, and that's something that humans do naturally. So
right.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that movie. What's the Pixar movie?
Inside Out.
Inside Out. We always call it The Feels because I love those Honest Trailers movies, and they call it The Feels. But yeah, Inside Out.
I'm waiting on the second one to come out.
Yeah, I think it's coming out sometime soon. Hopefully. But I think about that too.
Well, as we read through the cosmere, if you like colors, just wait.
Oh, really?
Bro,
Okay.
yes, just wait.
Got it. All right.
Little teaser.
Got it. Okay.
I forget you're like brand new to the cosmere.
Yeah,
in general.
brand
Like,
new to
just
the
Yeah.
new to me is being ahead of somebody. Just wait.
Just wait. Yeah. Yeah, I guess Chris is about halfway through the cosmere at this point. He's at least what's come out.
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
I say halfway because he has Stormlight left, and that's half.
Yes.
Because
Let me tell you, Stormlight is phenomenal. Like everything,
everything
he's written is phenomenal.
Give it a few years.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get there. So what's happened? So all this is happening. Kelsier gives his little speech, his little thing. The crowd kind of gets behind him for the most part. There's still a little bit of sentiment. It's kind of, but did a pretty good job. People were receptive to the speech, and then kind of soothes them in a way that they probably won't, rat or whatever. They try to bleed that last little emotion so it sticks with them, but at the same time they're not compelled to seek out, call them out, but see if it worked. Right. Time will tell whether all this worked.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still at the end of that meeting though, I still was one thing that they said that I didn't quite agree with was, we're going to give them enough information so that way if they come on board, they'll stay behind and get involved. But they don't know enough where if they don't get involved, they can't be a liability. And I'm like, yeah, but you are a liability because they have like basically ratted out. I mean, they could rat out everybody who was there. They could say, okay, well, this is Breeze, this is Kelsier, this is
Breeze is in a back room. I mean,
yeah,
no one knows he's there. He's a peephole looking through, but
I mean, they may see him though. I mean, like you were there physically. I guess that part I was like,
yeah.
I was like, just if somebody really wanted to spy on you and like kind of bust the operation up,
right?
I don't feel like they're being that careful.
But you have to mass recruit an army. It's one of these fine lines. Like how are you supposed to go? Like you can't be that. There's a timeline.
You can be so subtle. I mean, because they got to get 10,000 people, right?
Right.
I mean, and they're not even close.
Right.
Which he mentions. He's like, we're not even close to getting these 10,000 people. Like,
right.
We're like running way behind schedule.
And they even talk about going to other towns and stuff like that, and doing the same thing in other places because they need to get more people.
Yeah,
they can't just stick with Luthadel. They need to go everywhere and spread this
and
everywhere.
What was Vin's idea? Is she the one that came up with the idea of splitting the group, or?
I think she's the one who did.
Vin, I know.
Vin,
you talked about Vin being the one who came up with the idea.
She continues to be somebody who comes up with good ideas, but yeah, I don't remember.
Ideas person. She came up with another idea this time.
Yeah,
into chapter 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noted that again. I was like, oh, there goes Vin with the good ideas.
Oh, I did write down a note here. I said Breeze is an artist. I really feel like that guy is like an artist. He has like an artistic soul. The way he talks about things and he gets into the philosophy of like what his capabilities are. I like that about him. That he's like has a really artistic soul about him. So
you're so much nicer to Breeze than we were. I feel like I kind of thought Breeze was a little sleazy at first.
That's just because I like him.
Don't get me wrong. I love Breeze
by association. Oh no.
So let me tell you, like I'm one of those people that is attracted to assholes. So I'm like, okay, this is why I like him. But
well, he really could be an asshole if that's what he wanted, the way he wanted to use his powers. He totally could all the time.
Yeah, sure.
I know. I saw what her idea was. They were like, we cannot infiltrate the ministry. And she harkens back to like the deal that Kamen and his crew were doing, and they were talking about like the canal boats and stuff. And they're like, well, the canal boats, that's how they get their new ministry recruits in. They come in on the canal boats. And what if we like get our person to like swap, Cayman's person, whatever, to like swap out somebody, add him to the role, and he can jump on, and that's how you get a new recruit in to the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. I did not remember that. I don't recollect that.
Yeah, it's like the last 2 pages of my chapter.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, and but again, I'm not surprised because she continues to be the person that comes up with good ideas.
Yeah,
she's a very resilient
and it only gets
resourceful
better.
and resourceful person. She knows, what's going on, and she sees big picture things, and she's just really, really good.
Let me tell you, in the near chapters, Finn gets. I'm gonna leave it at that because it's just so breathtaking.
Yeah,
looking forward to it. Yeah.
So after this, we switch back to Club's shop. Kelsey's there holding like a mid-quarter review, progress report,
postmortem.
Yeah, with everyone. But before he gets into that meeting, Kelsey does have a quiet conversation with Sazed alone about another religion, and that's where you get the Jayism.
Right,
Jayism.
It was pronounced Jayism in the
Ja Rule.
Yeah, the guy's name is Ja.
That's a bad word right now, man. Fire Festival.
Dude, good job. But yeah, so thoughts about this other religion and just about. Yeah, of course, Kelsey's response is like, "Hey, if I can slaughter a nobleman as a holy duty, I'll
man."
that
was my quote right there, man. He comes back, he's like, "Do you have a religion where I can slaughter nobles?" I was like, "My man, I like him. I like him." So, yeah. So anyway,
go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't have anything else really to add.
He also kind of perked up and he was like, "Wait a minute, there were some religions that persisted for more than 400 years because the Lord Ruler was like stamping them out all over the place. He was like killing them out.
Right.
And so he was like, I want you to tell me some more about these, because like, how in the world did these religions have such power over people that they continued to resist for 400 plus years?
Right.
So he kind of, yes, he said the one about, are there any that like, kill the nobility as part of the noble duty?
Yeah.
I definitely, picked up on that, but he was also interested in the ones that were able to persist.
Right. Yeah, and Jawism didn't persist because they were so, I guess, religious fervent, and they finished every sentence with praise to Jah or whatever.
Yeah,
you're easy to hunt down because it's like you just talk to them for 5 seconds and like, all right, these are them, kill them.
Like
yeah,
off with your head, with your head.
Yeah, this is getting repetitive.
So praise the Jah.
Yeah, praise the Jah.
Why do you feel like our guy here is actually interested in learning about the different religions? Like, what is Kelsey's interest?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Kelsier kind of pushes back and says, I don't really understand why we're even trying to follow up on all these religions. But then Sazier says, well, it's because, once we take down, the big bad, all these people are going to start trying to, latch on to these religions that their forefathers had like generations ago. Someone has to know what these religions were and how they were practiced and how they applied and how they were used. And that's the reason that it's important to keep these things fresh in our minds. So that way, when we aren't subjugated the way we are, we can bring back those religions, to the forefront. So I think Kelsier isn't necessarily, I don't think he's quite on board like 100%. I mean, he's listening and he's like, okay, well, tell me more about, what you've got. But we also, I mean, from my perspective, Kelsier has a crazy amount of respect for this dude. We don't understand all the nuance. We don't understand all the intricacies of this relationship, but he knows there's a lot more when it comes to like, his knowledge, his capabilities, his expertise that is going to unfold over the next few chapters, over the course of the book, essentially. And I think Kelsier just has like mad respect for him, and he would listen to him talk about anything for hours because there's a reason he's talking about it. But he also has a quiet confidence. I mean, when he was first introduced, he came off as basically, butler number one, Ask Jeeves kind of dude, and now you're like finding out like slowly but surely there is like he's got them onion layers. It's like he's got like depth to him, and I'm just waiting to hear more and more about him. So again, he just seems like he just knows everything, aka all the things. So
did you notice that you talked about having other capabilities that are unplumbed? You
Right.
don't know, there are layers.
Right.
When Kelsier was saying that, okay, we got to keep going this. We can't wait for Vin to get like perfect with her nobility knowledge and all of that. We've got to just get her out there. And he's like, so he asked Sazed to be her dedicated like terraceman.
Right, which he said it makes sense anyway.
Yeah,
and to like accompany her. Yes.
Right, and to look over her. And so he was like, I'm trusting her to you. And he made some comment like, I pity the person, I pity the man who like
I pity the fool.
I pity the fool who crosses you. And I'm like, okay, so obviously there's something there. I don't know. Does he know like, Taekwondo or something? I don't know if he's like, obviously.
We don't know. But again, these little breadcrumbs have been dropped all over the place that I would not be surprised if, number one, he has some type of crazy Allomancy skill, like possibly even surpassing Mistborn type skills. I would not be surprised if that shows up. I wouldn't be surprised if they have like long lifelines or something like that, which explains how they know so much about everything.
Kind of like an elf with a really long life, and so you just over time learn.
You
more
just
and more
know, and and it makes you, people think of you as a genius just because you've just lived long enough. But I mean, as a guy that reads comic books and knows it comes up all the time, where it's like somebody that lives a long time is automatically assumed to be the smartest person in the world. But when you live long enough, you learn everything, and so that's the way I think of I would just say maybe not him individually or all of his sect. I don't know. I'm torn on that one. I don't know if it's just if this is an individual capability that he has, or if this is like a capability all of his people have. I don't know yet. Right now the jury's out on that one. I'm gonna leave the jury out. Say I'm gonna reserve that for when I get more information. But I feel it's one or the other. I feel like either he's got crazy capabilities because he's been living a long time, or he's got crazy capabilities just because it's just intrinsically some capability that his people have, something like that. So, but I got no doubts he's gonna like break out like a sword and like chop a rock in half or something and just be like, I can do this on a Monday.
Be a wooden sword though. Wooden sword. Has to be a wooden sword.
I just do what swords do, wooden sword. Yeah, he uses a pimp cane. He goes out, breaks a stone. He's like, this is what I do with the pimp cane.
Okay.
So,
yeah. There you go.
Those glass knives are like kind of a really cool concept,
Yeah.
I was like all on board with him until she broke one, and
she dropped it on like the cobblestone.
Oh shoot, it broke. I was hoping they were like reinforced and they like would unbreakable. When he gives it back to her like broken, I was like, no.
Yeah, I guess going back to that was one thing I meant to bring up and I forgot to. Going back to last chapter when Kelsier coaches her on, you don't have to use your hands. I know it seems instinctual to push with your hands, but you can just do it.
She dropped
the knives to push the
they're not
you do
like
with your mind. You don't need your hands to do it.
They're not mutually exclusive, dude. You just
but it's a reflex.
It's a reflex.
Of course. I mean, I would.
Yeah, you throw something at me, I'm gonna, do that too.
Right.
So.
Even if you could stop it with your mind, you'd be like, trying to.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
It reminds me a lot of like, you ever had someone that like is not a gamer at all, has never played video games, and like as an adult, maybe like a girlfriend you dated or something like that, and she tries playing for the first time and she moves the controller as she's playing. Like
that would be me because I don't play video games.
Yeah, but it's like instinctual. Like,
Yeah.
like you don't have to move the controller. Like,
There might be this guy I know who plays Gran Turismo, and when he's going around corners, he leans. I'm not gonna say who, but I've seen him do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I do it. I lean all the time. I'm like, I made that turn. Good. All right, got it. Yeah,
There you
pretty
go.
bad.
You don't have to lean.
It's such a sad thing. I really would not want to see myself gaming. I would be so embarrassed. No video, please, ever of me gaming.
Put you in full
Not Twitch
VR
streamer.
and just take a video of you doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
There you go.
but
Yeah,
I'm
VR is
just-
different.
I'm just holding off. Oh, VR. Shoot, no, come on.
That's different.
Nah.
So also after this meeting, we get a little bit with Vin and Lestebornes. The wasn't.
Oh.
Mhm.
She calls him over and she's like, and they're just
It's like,
talking.
hey, it's like, hey, I need to know about this Marsh guy. Is that his real name? Is like a nickname? It's like,
He's
yeah,
like a boy though, right?
yeah. Lestebornes.
I mean, how old is this? Is he like? I'm still trying to
I think
place
are they not
age.
the same
Not
age?
14.
Ben's age.
Maybe
Okay,
they're
they're
about
about
the
the
same
same
age, I think.
Yeah, 16.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Probably
Because
around
I was
there.
like,
They're
I thought,
teenager.
okay, I thought he
Okay.
was like really young at first, and then I was like, is he older than that? I
Yeah.
really couldn't get
I
the
think
feel
he's
for
just
that.
shy.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, he's just
He's
okay.
he's subscribed to Scrawny. Like he's a stick of a kid.
Well,
Yeah.
but he's a ska. They're all waves basically because they're
Sure,
not getting fed right. And
right.
Well,
He's a street urchin.
and guys
urchin.
tend to like sprout and like it takes them a little longer to get into that growth spurt and like fill out.
Mhm.
So even if
Somebody
they're the
forgot
same
to tell me
age,
that.
except for Chris, Chris is like
Chris.
an anomaly.
Yeah. Chris,
I had a twin-
Chris is born a power lifter and just was like,
So I have a twin sister, and we had that issue because of course, being the same age, it's like for the longest time she was much taller than me, and then all of a sudden I got to a certain age and I just shot way up past her, and
You grew a
and left
foot,
her in
and
the
she's
dust.
like,
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
when she was like 10 or 11, she was like tall as heck, and then like 12
Uh-huh.
hit, and nope.
So Lester Borges does say that Marsh does have a nickname.
Yeah,
it mentions
Iron Eyes.
Iron Eyes.
Which of course I was hoping his name was gonna be Iron Size. You'd be like the guy in the wheelchair,
Yeah. Which is what do you think about his nickname though, Iron Eyes? And this is because of his always cool stare. But like she even thinks about like the Steel Inquisitors. Like that's a weird nickname to have, a Steel Inquisitors.
No,
like,
I liked it. I liked it, Iron Eyes, because he's got a steely stare. I liked it.
Okay.
Iron Eyes.
Yeah.
I was good with it. I can understand why he didn't want to use it, especially considering the fact it's this allusion to the fact he's like a Steel Inquisitor. I get that. That's gonna be off-putting. You don't want to be associated with that at all. And considering that it's not like people see you on TV or whatever. If somebody hears him referred to as Iron Eyes, like go see Iron Eyes. I could be like somebody like, oh, I'm not going to see some guy called Iron Eyes. Nope.
No, not in this group.
Nah, not in this world.
Yeah.
okay, so Belted Prophet says that Lesteborn is a couple of years younger than Ben.
Yeah, it's thinking like 13.
Okay, so they're
Because Ben's
so they're-
16.
you.
So
they're in similar circles of age then. Okay.
anyway,
So we find out the terrace meant Hill of 1,000 Spires.
Mhm.
Oh,
was
Credit Shaw.
Greg Shaw. Yeah,
Credit Shaw is where the Lord
the
Ruler.
ruler lives.
Oh,
lives.
okay.
And
I
it's
remember
all these metal spires sticking up, and they're different sizes, and some of them are twisted, and so
Huh.
it's called Credit Shaw. And I think
Oh no! I
it's a
thought
terrace.
it's specific. I thought it specifically the way I remember hearing it specifically
Yeah.
because I wrote it down at the moment. It said terrace means Hill of 1,000 Spires.
Yeah,
That was
Terrace
what I-
does. Yeah,
That's what I
That's what-
remember specifically saying in the audiobook.
Yeah, that's the
Mhm.
translation of Credit Shaw, but what Credit Shaw actually is like the central sort of
Yeah,
palace
so
complex
they got it right
Oh.
here. It
of
says
the Lord
he's
Ruler.
he sighed, turning his eyes to the east towards Credit Shaw, the Lord Ruler's palace. The name Terrace meant the hill of 1,000 spires, appropriate since the imperial palace resembled a enormous patch of black spears thrust from the ground. Some
Okay,
spires are twisted. Yeah,
so help me out with this. What equals what? Because I mean,
so basically,
Terrace
Terrace
is
is a whole nother land, and what Terrace means is that, and then the Credit Shaw, the palace is made to look like
like
Terrace.
Okay. So you made
Terrace means the hill of 1,000 spires.
1,000 spires.
Yeah.
Now, Credit Shaw means Hill of 1,000 Spires.
No,
It says the name Terrace means the hill of
Terrace
Terrace.
means the land of 1,000 spires.
Land of 1,000 spires.
Yeah.
Wait,
So-
where is it?
It's my book's 197 is the page, but I'm not sure if in your book. But
Anyway, I just remember that, and I got a little
It's before
confused.
their meeting.
it's before the meeting, yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, I just thought that was kind of cool, but I was trying to understand. Now that you guys have explained it to me, it sounds like the land means a hill of 1,000 spires, and then the actual palace was shaped to look like
to
the
mimic.
land.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
That's
Now,
how I read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
No. Here's what it's saying.
Okay.
He's looking toward Credit Shaw, the Lord Ruler's palace. The name was Terrace.
The name of Credit Shaw was Terrace. Got it.
It's a terrace name.
It's a Terrace name. Yeah.
I
misread that too.
Okay.
No, I'll stay with you. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I misread
Good.
it.
Well, because again, I'm listening to it. Remember,
English
I'm doing audiobook,
major, yeah.
so I'm looking audiobook. I'm like, and so it kind of throws me off a bit.
Yeah,
especially since these a lot of terms haven't been used a lot before, and I'm trying to write down notes so I can keep it all straight in my head. Because remember, the word terrace has been used since basically chapter 1.
Yeah,
very
early,
ambiguously at the it's like all those openings for like every chapter, which you're not supposed to understand what's going on, and they keep going around the term terrace. I'm like, okay, what is terrace? What is terrace? By the way, I have a theory.
Epigraphs.
What is your theory? I want to hear it.
All right, so my theory is it's one of two things. All right, that these things are either being read by the Lord Ruler himself from his secret pink diary, or it's his somebody. Hey. That's the Lord Ruler's diary right there. I feel like it's getting read from his diary, or it's an associate of his that was affiliated with him on his rise to power, where he was trying to do good by the world and the people in general, and that those two people had a separation. And so this person aligned with him. They rose to power to do the right thing. Then somewhere or another, corruption occurred, and those two people broke apart, and then it was absolute power corrupting absolutely. That's my theory right now. We'll see how that changes over time. But I mean, again, I would just keep trying to catalog what all these like little sayings are, because they're always out of context. You don't know what it means or whatever. And as we get like little snippets of information, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Why do you think they use the terrace word to name the main
palace?
I don't know yet. I mean, because again, terrace keeps getting used a lot. It's used to describe a people. It's used to describe a land. It just keeps coming.
It's a language of the people of the land.
Like a people that are like
and so
enslaved, right?
So unfortunately, I don't have enough information right now. I've got enough bits of information to kind of help me out. And again, I'm a first time reader, so there's probably well, like every book, there's probably stuff that I've glossed over because I don't know it's important. But it's again, I'm going back to like, me being an Agatha Christie guy. I mean, it's like when I would read an Agatha Christie book and it would be like, oh, and the doctor happened to drop his knife in the bag. And it's like, oh, okay, somebody put a knife in the bag. And it's like later, it's like you find out, oh, yeah, that's how he got away with murdering 30 people, because he just kept, blah, 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 as a scalpel. That kind of thing. And so I feel like it's just probably innocuous information that I haven't really gotten kind of jigsawed together to figure out exactly how these things all work together. So anyway, I'm gonna keep throwing out my theories as we're going along. But that's where I'm at right now.
One of the little details that I remember bothering me when the first time I read it was, and I caught it this time too, was that when it's talking about the Lord Ruler and being afraid of the keepers or whatever, somewhere in that section it also mentions that he has instituted a breeding program for the terrace men, like for the terrace people.
I don't remember that.
Because it talks about killing off a bunch of the keepers, and there's like a breeding program, and I'm like, oh, this is like some like Cold World or like Nazi, like
Yeah, that's
weird
rough.
Yeah.
crap going on here. I don't know what this is about. And I just remember being like weirded out by having a breeding program for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then was it Ham who also brought the whole thing with like, are we doing the right thing by trying to throw the Lord
Yes.
ruler? Like, yeah, he's God, and if
What do you
God
think about that?
chooses what's right and what's morally correct, then are we the bad guys for trying to
Take him down.
take him down?
What are your thoughts? What is it? Is it okay to kill a god?
What's a god to a king? What's a king to a? Now, I'm gonna go with my rap reference. I'm gonna say, it's the golden rule thing, right? He who's got all the gold makes the rules, kind of thing. And so I don't believe in any of that morality stuff when it's somebody telling you that they're a god. And by the way, we haven't met this dude. I mean,
yeah. Well, Breeze even corrects me. He's like, he's not a god. He's a sliver of infinity. Like, that's
right.
not the same thing.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time. He's got crazy power, I have to assume. He's obviously hoarding a bunch of, this ATM to himself, so that way he can kind of hold on to this power, because he knows, based on what Kelsier assumes, is like, if he gets his hands on this, it's like, I can take you out. But yeah, when it comes to this whole idea of morality and all of that, I'm like with everybody else. I'm like, well, just because you make the rules doesn't mean, they're, something that can't be broken. I've never believed in that. So
Do you think they'll succeed?
I'll go back to my theory before, and I haven't been dissuaded from it enough yet to break away from the theory, but I think Kelsier is a little gung ho. I think Kelsier maybe has delusions about what he's gonna be able to accomplish by himself. I think he's gonna get taken out. I think that he's gonna go in here headstrong at some point in time. He's got a lot of emotional baggage that he's carrying. And that could be a liability. And I think Vin's gonna have to step up and, take over in some capacity.
When do you expect that to happen?
On page 420.
I asked that in the chat last time. I'm like, okay, it's a trilogy. When's this gonna happen?
I don't know.
Book 1, book 2, book 3.
What about getting rid of the sliver himself? How soon or how far?
The
out do
Lord
you think
Ruler,
we'll be?
yeah.
I've got no idea.
I mean, we're
right
only
now.
chapter 10, so
yeah, we're sorry.
like, we'll have
And plus,
200
the
pages.
other thing is too,
And plus, Kelsey's about to go visit him. Like, soon.
Yeah.
He announces that I'm gonna go visit the Lord Ruler. They're like,
Right.
He's like, are
what?
you insane? Like, he's
yeah.
like, oh
What?
yeah.
Don't
guys
you
are
remember what
insane.
happened last time you did that?
I
Like,
am
dude.
also trying to, and that's the other reason too why I'm not doing any research, is I'm trying to read the book as if the book just came out. That I don't know. I have not even researched how many other books there are. I refused. I'm not going to look up and see like how many,
the Cosmere
trilogies or
itself?
what. I don't want to know. I'm doing my best to just basically treat this book as a silo. I will read this book. It everything I'm saying could be self-contained in this one book, and then the next book is about Kelsier's grandchild named Marty McFly, and they go off and watch Jaws 8 in 3D and the whole deal. I have no idea, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. And again, I'm just gonna try and treat this as like a one-off and see what happens from there.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm not going to make any predictions about what book I think is going to happen or anything. Everything I'm saying, we'll assume everything I'm saying I assume is going to happen in this one book.
So my one warning for you then is to not let the details escape you as you carry yourself, not just through the trilogy, but through the various volumes that Sanderson has written. There will be pieces that are going to be important elsewhere. So I'll leave you with that to kind of keep your mind spinning while you're reading. Because trust me, you will get to a moment in one book and this book means absolutely nothing to Mistborn, you'll be like, oh, that I've heard that somewhere. I've
Right.
read that somewhere else. Like heard it because you're listening to the volumes.
Uh-huh.
I've heard that somewhere else. Why is that familiar? And then you'll be sleeping. You'll wake up at like 2:00 and you're like, oh shit! Like
Oh,
that
okay.
book's there.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
interconnectivity is
Yeah,
yeah.
it's fun.
yeah, it does, like it keeps you engaged and keeps you invested.
Mhm.
Good deal.
But what I had to do when once I understood that was going to be that way,
Mhm.
I had to kind of let that go a bit. Like, I see this detail. I know it has some importance somehow. I don't know what. So I'm going to note it, but I'm just
Mhm.
going to keep going with my current story and not worry about that. And then figure out that either when I read something else or when I reread, or maybe someday I'll listen to a podcast that talks about all of the interconnectivity of stuff. And I'm going to enjoy what I'm going through with this particular storyline, but I know that means something.
Right.
I just
I'm
don't know what it is.
so my approach has always been, and I love doing this for even like everything that I watch in terms of movies and doing deep dives. I love, as a comic book guy, I love watching these movies, and I pick up like a lot of details and stuff, and I love watching those YouTube videos afterwards, like new rock
Easter egg.
stars and stuff like that, and they like all the details you missed, because you can't sit there and pause a movie when you're sitting there watching the first time and just like pause every single little detail. And so I love the fact that after the fact I can watch these like other videos that do these breakdowns for me, and I'm looking forward to the moment that when we finish the book, I can go back and do that and
Yeah.
have somebody like break down those details, because again, I don't want to, because that's just my nature. I want to know all this stuff and all these details and stuff, but I just know that just to be fair, I will not
Mhm.
spoiler anything or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
probably glossing over 1,000 things that I probably should be paying attention to. But again, I'm looking forward to when we finish the book that I can do the deep dive and see like all these references and things that were probably mentioned early on in the book that give you a bunch of allusions to things that are going to happen later. I get the impression Sanderson is a very detail oriented person. He's probably right now, he's like really intricate outlines for all these books, and he's going to have like all these foreshadowings and things like that going on, and I'm looking forward to hearing about all of that. But I know I have to wait until I finish the book to be able to go back and and flesh all that out. But I'm looking forward to that though. So
It's probably a comic reference.
Chris Claremont, oh yes, as a big huge X-Men guy,
Yeah.
because I have every X-Men issue between 94 and 400. That Chris Claremont run was amazing. Anyway, yeah, prolific writer. Yes, yes.
Cool.
Thank you for putting that out there to a fellow comic book head like me. So
Yeah. So they have the final meeting. Kelsier announces he's going to go visit the Lord Ruler. Everybody thinks it's crazy, and then Hammond comes in and is like, "Hey, the layer just got raided. The one we met in last time. Yeah, they just got raided by the Steel Ministry." And Vin immediately thinks, "Oh crap, Cayman's place," and that's how we end the chapter.
Right.
Mhm.
Dun dun. Got to do that. Yes.
So that's how we end it. So, any final thoughts or anything?
I mean, I didn't have anything else to really add. I mean, again, I like to see Vin can continue to get trained up.
More
Again,
montages.
more montages, please. Yes. Hashtag more cowbell, more montages. Yes, please.
These chapters, these beginning chapters, are really quick and easy to go through.
Yeah.
But because it's very simplistic right now. But as the book goes on, the chapters definitely evolve and become a little bit more complex. So I'm interested to see kind of, 10 chapters, 20, 30 chapters from now, exactly where your theories will go, where your thoughts will be, whether or not you're impressed with the development of the different characters.
Because I mean, right now, I know that especially when you talk about a new world, new characters and stuff. Right now, the main thing an author is going to do is repetition. so that way you just get it drilled in your head. Just repeat
Right.
the same names, tell you the same descriptions of the person over and over again. Keep talking about their personalities. Say so and so is gruff. Say so and so is flying fresh to death, breeze. Stuff like that, and that way it just keeps coming back in your head. And then once you start, having that association, it's like, okay, well, this is that person's persona. Then these backstories are going to probably get fleshed out a lot more. So I anticipate that to probably start happening a lot more in the future. Because we still don't know how this band of brothers came together. I really want to hear more about that. All these backstories,
Okay.
all of that. I look forward to seeing, hearing more about that. Even down to, the right hand man Docs, and I want to, what's how'd you guys get to meet? Just hear your meet cute story, the whole deal. Looking forward to that. Because they make some allusions to some things about how they know each other, but there's a whole lot more going on there. So I'm looking forward to hearing that. So,
and there's still plenty more magic to learn. So,
oh yeah, a lot more magic to learn. Because obviously Kelsey doesn't know everything. He's still making assumptions on his own right now, and he doesn't know what's really going on.
He didn't get to go to like Hogwarts.
Yeah, exactly.
Like...
right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yeah, and I want to look, and I want to Kelsey's the guy that taught Kelsey. I cannot remember his name. He referred to him. He's referred to him like 3 or 4 times now.
He has. It's just the G, I think.
Yeah, because this guy obviously is not around right now. So what happened to him? Why are they not hanging out?
Gimel, was that it?
I do not remember.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, Gimel. Yeah,
Okay.
Gimmel's the Mistborn who trained Kelsey in the Allomancy.
Okay, and I want to hear more about that, and I want to hear about was there a rift between the two? Why is he not around? Why is he not involved in? Obviously, if he trained him, why didn't he send Vin to get training from this guy? And I'm like, okay, well, there's a reason. There's a rift here, or he's dead to the dead. And I'm like, okay, well, then what happened? Did they try to go raid something, do something, whatever? And I'm like, I want to hear that story too. Because I feel like there's probably some baggage there for Kelsier. If that guy, regardless, whether he's still alive or not alive, there's some emotional baggage there as well.
There's a lot of baggage with Kelsey.
Oh, so we're going to call this book Samsonite. Fair enough.
Yep. Yeah. So, that's all we have, I think, for these episodes. So make sure you please the algorithm peoples and like it, subscribe to our channel. It really helps the channel grow and helps other people find us. And that's really what's more important. So feel free to leave comments.
Or if you know anybody who likes Sanderson, reading Mistborn.
Yeah. If you're just listening to the podcast and not the YouTube, go check out YouTube and subscribe there too. So you can still listen while you're in your car. Don't watch the YouTube while you're driving.
Be a new reader. Read along with me as I try to get into it and share your same theories at the same time I'm sharing my theories, and we'll see which one of us is right. I'm probably wrong. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And we have few places you can do that. You can follow us on Twitter. You can join Discord, the Will Reads Discord server. We have a section there under there, so you can find links to that at thewillreads.com. We will have the Cosmere reads.com website coming up at some point. I'm still trying to get a few other links in place before I do that. So I have the name. I know I've been saying this for weeks now, but it is going to come. I'm just trying to get all my ducks in a line before I launch it, because I don't like to go back in and try to do things after the fact. It's just getting everything together first. So we'll get there. But yeah, other than that, make sure to leave reviews, listen to us, and tell your friends about us. And if your other friends that are into Cosmere. So that's all I got for this week, guys. So
thanks for having me.
Until next
pleasure,
time,
everybody. Appreciate you.
Later, gators.
bye.
This guy stank fresh.